Hello, my beautiful people. It is a trip with me video. Today, I am taking you on a ride to the beautiful country in Uganda, and I'm bringing you a special way by which they make their chicken stew. And I believe you can definitely pick some inspiration from it. My name is Sianoki. It's always a pleasure to have you here. When I first saw the recipe, I had some hard chicken in the fridge, so that is what I am using. So you can definitely use some soft chicken if that's what you have. And you can see all this hair that is around the chicken. We are roasting it. The purpose is to burn the excess hair around the chicken and also to activate the flavor. Traditionally, what the Ugandans do is to place some plantain peels over the charcoal before they put the chicken in there. That way, the plantain peels will nicely infuse the chicken. You roast it over until you get something like this, okay, nicely roasted, and then you take it out and continue the cooking process. The first time I saw this recipe was on Nicola's channel. He has a channel called Cooking the Ugandan Way, where he shares different dishes from Uganda. And when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is an interesting recipe and I would like to give it a try. What I love about it is that they don't use oil for this recipe. So it's more like no oil and chicken stew. And once you are doing this, if the chicken has enough oil around it, it should be extracting. Okay. So some of the videos, apart from when I saw the video, so first time I saw the video was on his channel, but to make the dish, I watched a couple of other Ugandan stew videos. And for some of them, they recommend that when you don't have enough oil around the chicken, you can add some more oil. So this my chicken doesn't have enough fat. Okay. So when the chicken has enough fat, you don't need to add any oil at all. By the time you are sort of roasting it in your pan this way, the oil should have extracted nicely. But then, I'm continuing with the cooking. Initially, I was cooking outside and then I came in. I have here some ginger, garlic, and pepper paste that I'm adding to the chicken. I've noticed that Ugandans also don't like pepper that much. So I am making it my way. I added some pepper to it and I'll just give this a nice stir to make sure that all the spices are getting to the all parts of the chicken. Okay, so once that is done, I'll also add in my homemade local spices. Add any spice of choice, add any seasoning of choice. I also added some salt to taste and again give this a beautiful stir. At this point, I was still hoping that my oil will be extracted nicely, but there's really little oil around this chicken. I'm also adding in some carrots. I see it as one of the ingredients that most of the recipes that I saw coming from Uganda they used. So I'm adding some onions as well. I must mention that some of the videos actually add potato to it as well. So I have my onion, I have some spring onions, and then I will just, stir this nicely and then cover. At this point, I had not given up on the chicken. I felt like, oh, maybe if I add the vegetables to it, the oil will be extracted. But it got to this point and I realized that, nah, this chicken doesn't have any oil at all. So I'm adding just a tablespoon and a half of vegetable oil. Again, note that if your chicken has oil, you don't need to add oil to this recipe, and that is what I love about this recipe. I think it is very, very healthy and it's a nice way to actually cook chicken. So that is one tip that I'm taking with me after watching and making this video. So I covered it for it to fry, the vegetables to fry and soften up nicely. Then I'll also go ahead and add in some tomatoes to cook. Some tomatoes, um, some scallions or spring onions as well for that extra flavor. Okay, so I'll just mix everything nicely, cover, and let that cook as well. Now, at this point, I'll be adding some homemade curry powder. I have the video on my channel. Use I use a store-bought curry powder. Yeah, but I added a curry powder to it. If you had any other spices that you want to add to it, now is a great time for you to do that. And then I cook this again for some time, and I am going to add water to this, enough water to cover this chicken. Kindly note again, because my chicken is hard, I will need a lot more water. If your chicken is soft, you may have to reduce the amount of water you would use for this recipe. So when I added the water, I reduced the fire under it, and then I let it cook slowly. So this cooked for more than 50 minutes under low heat. Every now and then I come in and stir it, and this is it. This stew is ready. It could go further, okay, but I had a special guest that was in a hurry going somewhere, so we had to, consume it, and we filmed it. So guys, stay tuned and listen to our review, especially not coming from just me, but from another person who got the opportunity to eat this dish. Thank you for watching, and hope you give this dish a try. I'll see you again in another.